you know what time it is? Psst, I said, hey, do you know what time it is? But it's journal time. Let's get this thing started. All right, you need your journal, a pair of scissors, pencil, glue stick, and you're going to need this government Flipbook packet. So it does have a staple, so you are going to need all of the pages inside of that packet. So either get that from the mailbox system or the teacher nearest. Inside our table of contents, we last left off with the types of government, and now we're on to page 41, which is going to be types of government Flipbook. So make sure you take some time to update your table of contents. What I would do next is this packet. It was easier to staple it so that way you had all the papers at once, but every paper is important and they're layered, and so when you stack them all together, they're going to make a flip book. So what I'd like you to do is go ahead and tear off each page from the stapled packet, and once you tear off all of the pages separately, go ahead and cut around the black boxes to have all individual pieces, stack them up to look like that. Sweet! So if you cut them all out and did not lose any of them, if you put the quiz one on the bottom and stack them up from biggest to smallest, you should have a nice looking flip book just like this, and you should have a ton of scraps that looks like this. Please make sure that you go ahead and recycle all of these scraps and put those in the recycling bin, and then we're going to get started. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're just going to take our pencil here and we're going to go through and look at each of these, and then we'll assemble it at the very end. So we're just going to flip our pages kind of upside down right now, and we're going to underline some key words. And I'm going to try to read these in a little bit of a different accent. So first, we have dictatorship. A dictatorship is a type of government in which one person has unlimited power. For the first 30 years, Cuba has been a socialist state run by the Cuban Communist Party. Mwahaha. Communism is a system in which all resources are used and owned by the government. No citizen owns any land or businesses, and money is divided among citizens equally. Cuba was in the process of rewriting their constitution in 2018, so this may change. All right, do me a huge favor. We need to go ahead and circle and underline a few different things. So Cuba, let's go ahead and circle that, is an example of a dictatorship, right? Cuba is a country that's not too far away from us. They're just south of Florida that practices the government of dictatorship. And then it's really important to also understand what communism too, because a lot of communist countries are kind of under that dictatorship. I'd like you to underline where it says that no citizen owns any land or businesses, which is kind of crazy because many of your parents own land or own businesses, and money is divided among citizens equally. So even if you work really, really hard and someone hardly works at all, money's all the same. Doesn't really matter. So that's a little bit about a dictatorship. All right, we're going to flip that one face down and move on to democracy. Like the United States is a constitutional-based federal republic. This means that the citizens of the United States elect representatives to make laws and foreign policy, control the federal budget, and run the courts. The Constitution limits the power that our leaders have over us. Totally cool. The president can veto Congress. Whoa. The Supreme Court can rule on an act of the president as unconstitutional. Rude. And Congress votes on judges for the Supreme Court. Most countries in the Western Hemisphere are republics with an elected government. All right, that was my Valley Girl voice. Wasn't that pretty cool? All right, so obviously here a big example of democracies are in the United States, but I also would like to circle Western Hemisphere. So that means a lot of the countries like Canada, Mexico, and other countries in South America also practice democracy. And then I would like you to underline where it says elect representatives. That's a big part. And how Constitution limits power that our leaders have over us. That's a big part of a democracy, because even though we vote for people, we don't want them to have absolute control. So the Constitution limits it that. And that's a democracy. All right, let's take a look at a monarchy. Obviously, I have to read this in a British accent. A monarchy is a type of government with a monarch or a king or queen. A monarch gets the job by being born into the royal family. Canada is a constitutional monarchy. In a constitutional monarchy, the king or queen is the head of state, but the prime minister is the head of government. Queen Elizabeth of the United Kingdom is their queen. The prime minister is a member of the law-making group called the House of Commons. Members of the House of Commons are elected by the people. The leader of the political party with the majority or the most members in the House of Commons becomes the Prime Minister. So I'd like you to go ahead and circle Canada because Canada has a form of monarchy. And also I'd like you to put a star around constitutional monarchy. So this is a specific kind of monarchy in that the king or queen is kind of head of the state, but the prime minister, and let's star that, and underline is the head of the government. So the king or queen is kind of in control of the country, but the prime minister is kind of in charge of the rules and following these out. And they also have a House of Commons, which is kind of similar to Parliament or the Congress or the Senate and those sorts of things. So that's a monarchy. You're doing absolutely splendid. All right, last one, an oligarchy. An oligarchy is a type of government in which a small group of rich people have all the power. Venezuela's government is a republic, which is a system with different branches to keep each other in check. But this former republic is now becoming an oligarchy. The president of Venezuela was voted into office by citizens, but they were not given many choices. The president then selected a small group of wealthy, powerful people to help him. Many of them his family members. These people use their money to influence the government decisions. So let's circle, normal Mr. A's voice, so sorry. Let's circle Venezuela because that's an example of an oligarchy. And let's also circle where it talks about how the president selected a small group of wealthy, powerful people to help him. So they weren't really voted in. The president just kind of picked them. And then also, the people use their money to influence decisions. No constitution, no balance or checks. They just use the money to get the power. So an oligarchy is a type of government where usually if you have money, you have power, and only a few people have it in those smaller countries. So those are the 4 main types of government. And before we finish off here, I want you to take a look at this little quiz. Look at the 3 questions, take a minute, answer them, and then check to see how you did. So the first one, where it talked about Russia being a federation, another type of government, the big part there was it's ruled by a small group of wealthy insiders. And anytime we hear small group and wealthy, oligarchy is it. Look at the second one. How crazy is that? Did you read that second sentence? After Kim Jong-un became the new leader, he killed or removed officials in his father's regime, including his uncle. Literally killed his uncle when he took office. That is absolutely insane. That's a dictatorship. No, thank you. And the third one, Saudi Arabia, is another example of a monarchy because they have a royal family, but they don't have a written constitution. All right, you're doing a great job. Now I need you to go ahead and turn all of those back over and either find the nearest stapler near you or a teacher with a stapler near you. And we're going to take the stapler and we're going to staple it just at the very, very top, because if we staple it too much lower, we're not going to be able to read some of those words. So once you staple that and have a staple towards the top, then it makes the flip book, and you should be able to read all of your awesome notes while also not losing any of the pages, because if you hold it up and they fall out, that doesn't work either. Then once you've got it stapled, you're going to flip it over on the back. You're going to put a whole bunch of glue on the back and glue it right here on page 41, and we're going to leave page 42 blank. All right, that's all that we've got for Government Flipbook. You guys did awesome.